Hi, so in this video we're going to be looking at the Thomas test. So this is probably the main test that most people will know about and do to check for the hip flexor tightness. So let's start. We're going to come to the edge of a bench or a bed, whatever that you have available, and I want you to roll down and then roll over onto your back and bring your knees, both knees, in to your chest here. Now once you're comfortable, make sure that you are quite close to the edge. No bump shouldn't be quite off the edge, but very close to it. And then what we're going to do is we are going to hold one knee to your chest and then allow the other leg to drop down. Now, what you don't want to happen is your back doesn't want to arch like this. So keep an eye that your back doesn't arch. Make sure that your back stays in a neutral position on that bench. If it does excessively arch and you just can't keep it from not arching as you bring your leg down, that's just an indication that your hip flexors are extremely tight and you definitely need to be doing some work on them. So, holding onto your leg, what you're going to do is you're going to let your leg, the other leg, drop. What we're looking for is if your knee is above this bench, so in this sort of position up here, then that indicates a tight psoas muscle and hip flexor in here. Okay, so that's the first test that we're doing. What we're looking for is if it is above the bench, then it is very tight. If it's in line with the bench, then it's tight and you still need to do work on it. Ideally, you want, and I can't quite do it myself, a 10 to 20 degree angle below the bench is what you're looking for. Now, the other things that you can look at in this test is where is your knee and your foot? So if you're not coming down here to a 90 degree angle, so with your knee, that means your rectus femoris, which is the quad muscle that wraps from the hip down to the knee, is tight and we need to work on that. So that's another hip flexor muscle that you have. And if somebody can look from your feet end, if your leg is coming out or pulling out this way, then that means your TFL is tight. And that would also indicate that your IT band is tight as well, so we need to work on that. So you're looking at three different things in this. We're looking at is our psoas and iliacus tight, so that is how far down can you go. Is our rectus femoris tight, which is based on our knee band, and is our TFL tight, which means our leg's going to be coming outwards that way. And we're obviously going to be doing that on both legs because you need to test both sides out. The easiest way to do this is to have somebody testing it for you, or take photos or videos. Now, a couple of troubleshooting. If you pull too tight on this leg, you're going to get a false positive tightness test, okay? So if I pull really tight on this, it's much harder for my leg to go down. So you don't want to relax it and not pull because that's going to cause that position. So if I'm like really loose on it, well, I can go right down because that gives me much more flexibility there. So you want to be firm, but not overly tight and not overly relaxed. So just a firm position so you get a true test with this. If your rectus femoris is very tight, so you can hardly bend it, try straightening your leg and allowing it to drop. So what that's going to do is it's going to take the pressure off your rectus femoris and allow you to know whether it's the tightness in your rectus femoris that's causing you to not be able to drop your leg down, or is it your psoas and iliacus, okay? So again, we are testing the rectus femoris with the knee band. We're testing the main psoas and iliacus hip flexor muscles with at how far down can your knee go. And we're testing to see if our TFL is tight as well, to see whether it automatically swings out that way. Okay, so test both sides. If you get any of those tests which are positive, then that is something that you're going to be wanting to do this course with. If those tests are negative, so you're like, my psoas aren't tight, nothing's tight, but yet I have a lot of hip issues, what that might mean is that you're considered what is in a long and taut position. And if you're in a long and taut position, you're actually overstretching your hip flexors. And let me just get down from here. And what I mean by that is if you're already in this position, so you either sway back or you have a posterior pelvic tilt, and you actually are already in a lengthened position of your psoas, well then you still need this course because you need to strengthen the other muscles around to bring your psoas back into the correct length. It's still a weak muscle, it's just been a lengthened muscle. So we don't want to stretch it because it's already stretched. We want to strengthen all the other muscles around it and bring that pressure off your psoas so that you can stand up straight again. So I really hope that this was an informative test for you. And if you have any questions, let me know. And I hope to see you in the course.